alright, even though I just recorded a video, but none of the audio went on, and I am hungover. Somebody asked me what my build was, and I will be damned if I don't get a video up to show them what I've been doing with my build. So, here we go. To start out, I will go over my skills for the second time. You guys didn't get to see it, but that's the behind the scenes. I use a mission tier 8. I use Mending Probes tier 8 and Flash tier 4. This is so I can cleanse off the Mending Probes with the Flash. Pretty standard affair for a medic. I use Shield Surge because I'm a medic. I use Urgency, which can be replaced with various different things, but Paralytic Surge is one of those things that I replace it with sometimes, but in Genetic Archives there are situations where using a stun can affect the raid negatively, so I take that off. Get a little bit of extra movement, which doesn't really hurt at all. It makes it so you can get out of the laser phase in the second boss of GA and get out there and heal people in faraway places. I carry Antidote because I really like to, be able to debuff or dispel debuff from people. That's a really nice thing to have. Plus, it's become a habit after doing the dungeons in this game. I spec'd into protection probes because the damage mitigation from this is a big deal. I found that it really does help. 17% doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. I use recharge because I still do have minor focus problems over the long term when it comes to fights that are like 10 minutes plus. So the X89 kind of fights, stuff like that, things that last a little longer than most, I end up in the end having to actually watch my focus, but it's not really that big of a deal at this point. And once again, you can switch out Urgency and Recharge depending on the type of fights with Empowering Probes and or Calm if you need some sort of breakthrough. So that's what I use for skills. My amps are pretty simple. I spec into the 6% critical hit chance for everybody. I think it's nice to give everybody a little bump, especially when I'm not using Empower, but you definitely use that 6%. Not hard to spec into it. I don't have a whole lot going on in the tier 3 range as far as the amp goes, but I do have increase in armor and the ability to have my Energize Restore Shield, which is really important because there's a lot of situations where I use my PvP trinket, which I'll show you in just a second. Everybody, that's pretty standard affair as well. And Energize at the same time as like an emergency oh shit button. So I have, other than that, protection probes is basically what I spec into, but once again, I'd like to point out that this is not a I'm the best build kind of thing. This is a, there's people out there who are min-maxers that probably have a much better build than I do, but I can tell you that I am in Genetic Archives. I field every dungeon, I field every adventure, and I don't have a problem with any of those. So, this is what I use, and this is what gets the job done. As far as my my equipment goes, I use the 1500 PvP, what are they called? Resonators, that's the one, and they have been working fine. Everything here could probably be runed a little better for the most part, except my very new equipment, but that's solely because I don't want to spend the extra gold when everything I have is working. So until I get Genetic Archives like upgrades, then really some of the runes in here may seem a little silly, but that's probably because they are. I use the Heart of the War Machine or a Scavenger Hood. These are best in slot. I have it on very good authority that these are the special on these is huge. Reduce burden, landing a heal grants 10% chance to restore 11 focus. There's nothing better than getting a bump in your focus. You're going to be battling focus for the entirety of healing until you get all your life giver set, which I'm 4 of 20, but that's just because it's like a plat apiece. And like I said, I don't have any problems healing Genetic Archives, and that's where we're at. So not really a whole lot of reasons to upgrade. Hyper-threaded shielding coat. Grim Doomcaller hands. These things are awesome. The 70 support power imbuement is going to be one of the best that you can get as far as gloves go, but you can get better rune slots in here. If you can find these with life water or fusion in them, then that's like going to be 10 times better than what I have, but can't see upgrading these things for a rune slot when, like I said, they are working. Stormburst overpants. Little Iron Fang stompers. I'd like to have the Wanda J's, but unfortunately the RNG gods don't see fit to bless me with those guys. Got the Flamekin target link. Thundering Quill, that's 67 support power. A lot of people overlook that, but that's huge. You're not going to get anything better than these. Once again, the slots are what ends up being the big deciding factor in whether you have the best Thundering Quill or not. I use the Protection Trinket, which is, I just can't do without it at this point. I'm pretty addicted to this guy. I use it for basically everything. I think I have it on every one of my characters. There's obviously probably better tanking things, but I don't tank, I heal. So I wouldn't know about that. You got your key. You're going to want that. And finally, the Energized Pell Battery, that's 70 support power, is monstrous, which leads me down to 2,354 support power, which I imagine if I really tried hard, I could probably get to 2,500 if I decided to change out all my runes and do all that nonsense. But if your runes are a question, then you want to be going for Life Giver. It is very, very expensive, but at the same time, this increased max focus by 93 and the little special it does right here that everybody can read. That thing is money. You're not going to find anything better than that. So I hope this video shows off what it takes to be in genetic archives and toss out some heals. And if you guys have any questions or want to see anything else, please let me know. Thanks.